Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a session on masterclass on triaging threat hunting, threat intelligence, and incident response. May I request Mr. Prashant Mehendru, partner PwC, on stage.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I've been told that we are 5 minutes late, so I will try to wrap up 5 minutes early because I don't want to stop all of you for lunch. So I'm Prashant. I'm a partner with PwC. I run the cyber managed services business for PwC in India. I joined PwC about 14 years ago in 2010. But before that, for about 10 years, I was in the IT industry, running operations, running application development programs, running many other infrastructure management items. It is important, somebody has told me many years ago that it is important to credentialize yourself. So one of those particular instances that I was working with prior to PwC was with NCR Corporation. All of you know NCR, I hope. They make ATM machines and we deploy ATM machines, etc. They were at that particular point in time one of the larger players. They continue to be. And I happen to be part of their application development team for in-house enterprise applications. But one of those portions was where I became part of their technology team that actually innovated on the X.509 protocol. And if you are aware, X.509 is the bedrock for everything that we do on security today. So lucky to be here. Thank you so much for having me. I have my colleague Mubaraka over here as well. So I will leave to her some of the demo parts for what we are going to discuss. But essentially, this is going to be a hands-on or maybe a discussion hands-on. So for hands-on, you have to take out your jacket. So I'm going to take out my jacket right now. See, coming from operations, we have to be operation-centric. So we need to understand why we are doing what we are doing. Some of the activities that we do as a Big Four is a lot of consulting ज्ञान. तो मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदी में आ जाऊंगा बीच में सबको डिस्कस करने के लिए क्यों कर रहे हैं. So we have a lot of wonderful products that we all deploy for identity, for endpoint protection, for application protection, for network protection, for data protection. And each of these particular products has their own operational items that you need to do for those particular activities to run. And all of us who understand operations also understand that, as was mentioned in the keynote, towards the beginning, that the human factor becomes extremely important. And who's actually doing the activity, who's verifying the activity, is the overall challenge that we have. Now, in these challenges, we have to be one step ahead as CISOs, as security professionals, to be able to do these particular activities well. And which is where what we are really grappling with at this present moment in the industry is nobody gets the end-to-end picture because of cost pressures, because of not being able to deploy the right technology, because of changing business applications. Everything that you deploy becomes obsolete within a few months, maybe a few weeks sometimes. So in this entire chain, we really need to work on what are those key items that we really need to do. So all of us are aware of how SOCs run. You get logs, you get telemetry, you write use cases, and those use cases produce results. Some use cases, think traditional, they are linear use cases, one particular event generating one particular alert, if it's anomalistic in nature based on the activities that you do. In the new age technologies, you started doing a lot of machine learning, which basically means that you have a lot of data sitting in the back, based on which there are certain algorithms that you will write, which will tell you what are the parameters that actually define what is anomaly. And based on that particular anomaly, you still write the same linear use cases to say if these parameters are different from what you see as a baseline, is what is going to become your use case. Now, how many of us have actually seen a low and slow attack? Anyone? Raise of hands, low and slow attack. I'm surprised. Every one of you should have seen, because those are the norm of the country today. In all the customers that we actually work in, a low and slow attack is the predominant issue which no security operations provider has been able to write a use case for. Hence, like Inspira said, like Rubrik said, like Tenable said, like everybody who's come onto stage have said, you need hunting. And that's really what this is all about. So I've covered some of these particular areas around what capabilities we need. So as part of some analysis that PwC did in 2023, which completed around February of this year, we understand that threat actors are agile. They do all of these particular wonderful things. Geopolitics is playing a lot of activities right now. Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Gaza Strip, etc. The entire activity has repercussions. India, precariously, we get attacked from our east, obviously, but we also get attacked from our west. All of the product providers today who give you things like threat intelligence come from the west. So you're seeing east-based attacks. Do you see west-based attacks? Do you see attacks from Israel? Do you see attacks from France? Do you see attacks from Germany? Do you see attacks from the UK? Do you see attacks from the US? I'm sure you do. So the point is, where do we get that particular threat intelligence from, and how do we make that particular intelligent remark for us is an extremely important aspect. I want to cover these particular slides really quickly. So in order to focus on these threats, what do we really need to do? Should we look at the whole world? Should we narrow it down? I think those are questions that we need to ask ourselves. For example, if our bank does not do business with a particular country because of regulations, because of any other particular need, why should traffic come from that particular region to us altogether? These are simple things, right? These are things that we sort of narrow down. But let's assume that we have to continue to do business with a particular geography, but that geography is under this particular type of dynamic threat of a geopolitic nature. Then what do you need to do? You need to have the detection mechanisms, etc. in place, and threat hunting plays an important part there. So from a PwC perspective, what we really do is we actually look at this particular intelligence very differently. We actually don't look at attacks that are originating from IPs or hosts or so on and so forth. We actually have started looking at actors. The actors themselves are far fewer. At this present moment, we track, I think, about 300 threat actors, 320 to be precise. I think we'll see it on the demo. Now, those 320 threat actors are really where we need to understand what are their motivations, where do they belong, what do they target, how do they target, what are the MITRE attack TTPs they use for targeting, and based on that, build certain hunts that come in. Now, what traditionally we do as hunts is also important to understand. So let's say you get an IOC. An IOC is in the form of, let's say, an IP address or a URL or a file hash. From the day you get the IOC to you, from whichever threat intelligence provider onwards, you'll have your mechanisms to be able to detect it. That's no-brainer. The challenge is reverse. Since when has that IOC been in the system? Do we have those threats? Do we have those hunts? Some of you who are on technologies which are cloud native, which have large databases behind them, etc., may be able to go retrospectively, let's say a few weeks, maybe a few months. Can you go back years? Should you go back years? In the banking industry, with the customers that we work on, we see threat actors being in the organization for more than a few months, sometimes 6 months, sometimes 9 months. So when I get an IOC and I go back only 3 months, I'll see that. But if I go back even further, I'll still see them. Can we go back that further? I think these are points that we need to sort of look at internally, internalize, say what we need to do on those particular items. In the banking industry, there is one more particular aspect that we see, that it is not just the external threats. It's also your internal threats. Fraud is a business. and that particular business also drives certain behavior which needs to be accommodated as part of hunts. Somebody maliciously will be downloading something every evening. They will do it maliciously for the purposes of this particular activity, of deflecting you from such particular hunts, to say that at that particular point in time when I actually do the activity, we should be able to detect that misdirection. So what can we do? Essentially, all of you must be aware that there is a model that has come up. It's called the Hunting Maturity Model, HMM. But it really talks about these four broad principles. So what we need to do is we need to anticipate what are our key areas that we need to sort of focus on. We need to basically have ability to be able to prepare what we need to test. We need to understand how some of these particular activities will be done more frequently than others, because you're not able to test some of those particular things out as part of use cases. And then obviously have the response and recovery mechanisms built into it. Some of the hunts will result in potentially you being able to write use cases, so you basically evolve your use cases as part of it. This covers most of what I wanted to discuss as a consulting, and I've been told I have only 5 minutes left because I had to go down. But I think what we will do is we'll quickly go into the demonstration on this part. So Mubaraka, do you want to take that up?
Thank you, Prashant. So now, as he was talking about that, we are going to show you hands-on demonstration. How do we do threat hunting? So we are talking about the Lazarus Group, the notoriously threat actor group which goes after financial clients, also known as the Guardians of Peace, and are funded by the North Korean government. So this organization does target Indian banks as well. That's what we are aware of. So talking about where do we get this intelligence from? So we utilize our global threat intelligence platform to get hold of all the latest details about this particular threat actor group, with its IOCs, its TTPs, its information with respect to where all does it target, what all does it do, what are they targeting your peers or not, with respect to all those details that we get hold from our internal platforms. Yeah. Okay. So with all these details handy, with all the latest TTPs that we get hold of, we go about carrying and performing our threat hunting activities. So this is one such TTP which that particular threat actor group performs or does, which is possible DLL site loading activity, wherein they are utilizing any known third party applications, and they are implementing or site loading malicious DLLs in non-binary folders or directories to carry out persistent or in different cases or in rare scenarios, privilege escalation activities in there. So we utilize, so this is one demonstration instance where we are utilizing the EDR platform to write down the hunting query to look out for this is the particular application. This is the particular DLL that it's incorporating. Now, when we are carrying out such an hunting activity, the possibilities are that you will get hold of a lot of applications which are genuine in it. So we need to weed out all such possibilities and look out for those instances. Say, suppose those low frequency DLL executions or process executions where we can get hold or understand, okay, this is a malicious or suspicious activity that is happening in your environment and this needs to be investigated further. So once we get hold of such an incident, we go about reporting our clients. Okay, this is an observation that we have got hold of, and there are other observations that has been noted, which are all looking or targeting towards, okay, this is the particular threat actor group which is going after your organization. We finally send it to the incident response team, which helps you remediate or eradicate that particular threat actor group from your environment. And there. So this is one short demonstration that we had, and we are now back to questions, if anyone has. Please.
Thanks. Thanks, Mubaraka. There was a little bit of an issue on the videos, etc. So I apologize for that, but we are here. We can show you those particular videos and hands-on demo on these particular items as well. So I think from an overall perspective, the video wanted to show that you had actors. Those particular actors are the ones where we write, queries, etc., to be able to understand what are the IOCs that those actors are responsible for, what are the TTPs that they particularly follow, and then do a targeted hunt within the organization for the TTPs, etc., that they are doing. The Lazarus group notoriously does this particular DLL side loading. We do a lot of incident response activities as retainers for banks, and we've seen some of these particular issues play out. And it is important to know that this is happening. This is happening live in environments today in the group, and we need to come collectively together to say, what do we need to do about some of these particular things in a more active manner? So I'll rest. Thank you so much. If there are any questions, we'll also be here. Please feel free to shout out. Thank you so much. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for this session. May I request Sri Rao sir to present a memento?
Yeah, back. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Wonderful, sir.
We will now break for lunch. All our delegates are requested to join us for the lunch outside of this hall. We'll assemble back at 2 p.m. for further enriched contents, as we have much more sessions coming from RBI as well. So kindly stay tuned.